Hello and welcome to another episode of Winning with Shopify podcast. For anyone who's not tuned in before, my name's Nick. I've been hosting the show for just over 3 years now. I realised a few weeks ago I had missed my third anniversary, which falls in line with missing my second and first as well. If you've been tuning in for a while, it's great to have you back, and I hope you've enjoyed some of the new announcements. We've got a new community. Go and check that out. It's amazing. And we are commenting loads in the community about things that are going on. People are starting to ask questions, and there is currently a waiting list. So check out winningwithshopify.com and hit on Growth Hub. It's called the Ecom Growth Hub. But there is a waiting list on there, so go and check out the waiting list. Go and join it if you want. It is for brands that are but generating £20,000 or €20,000 per month upwards. One of the biggest ones in there is doing, I think it's about 7 million a month, which is quite exciting. So good brands in there, and we're certainly growing things. If you are lower than that and you still want to go and sign up, then that is also absolutely fine. We probably won't let you into the community itself, but we will invite you to some cool events and webinars and other stuff that is going on that you'll still find beneficial, and still more than just the podcast. Today, I've got my final show. Not ever, don't worry, but just until we start something very new and something long-term, which is going to go on for at least the next year or so. We've got a few new partners, and I've got all of them on the show next week. It's going to be the most guests that I've ever had on the show. So it's super exciting, and I'm super pumped to have them on there. I'm not going to say too much today. We're going to save all of that for next week's episode, where I interview them and we talk about some of the trends, things that are going on in 2024, where we're going with the podcast, and what's going to happen next. But we're trying to bring bigger and better guests on for you, more value, and a whole range of other things as well. Today, I'm going to try in somewhere between sort of 20 to 40 minutes. I'm going to try and tackle arguably the biggest question there is that comes into my inbox. I've had no less than 6 or 7 of you email this to me in just the last month alone, and I'm trying to help you out as much as I can. But it is difficult, and I'm sorry, it is a real challenge. The question really is, as you probably saw from the title, how does one double their Shopify revenue? Well, my PPC team and I, we joke quite a lot when clients are like, how do we make more money from Google? We say it's obviously the right question, but we do joke a little bit internally and say that, oh, we just click the magic button. And the reason you're all listening to this, the reason that you are engaging with this, and the reason those 6 or 7 people have asked that question to us is because they want to double their revenue, but it is not easy. I'm trying things and nothing seems to be working. So I'm going to break today down into 5 points, and I'm going to talk you through some of my top tips, some of the things that are working for some of our clients, and I'm going to throw in a few verbal case studies as well. I won't mention any brand names just because I haven't got permission from those brands. But we did have a guest pull out, and I was chatting to Byron, who is my absolute guru, who looks after everything back office for the podcast. And we were having a chat about what we should talk about. And we referenced those emails that have come in and thought, actually, let's cover this topic and see what we can do. So with the help of my team here at Spec, which is our agency just the other side of this wall, with the help of the team here at Spec, we've decided to break this into these 5 points. So we think these are the 5 most important things that you need to be focusing on doing, trying, testing, trying to get to work to double your Shopify revenue. So here we go. Number 1, talk to your customers right now. Do nothing else until you talk to your customers. I honestly, and I'm going to have a slight rant here, I am sick to death of brands I talk to saying like, oh yeah, we know our customer really well. Our customer is the same age as me, the same height as me, with the same interests as me, does the same things on their weekend as me. And it's a lie. I'm sorry. And I call brands out on it. I do it in a very polite way, but it's a lie. That is not your customer. And almost all of the successful brands that we've had on the show have said the same thing to me. And when I look at our client base that I've worked with probably around 2,000 brands in my career so far. Every single one of them has told me the same thing. Certainly the success ones have said the same thing. And what they've said is the day that we swallowed our pride and said, no, I'm not the customer and I'm going to stop making assumptions and start talking to my customers using data, the day they decided to do that, the day the business had a real mission, a real purpose, and became more successful. So 2 things you really need to find out on this. Why do you buy my products? And how and when do you use my products? I know you could split into 3 questions, but there's a how and when in a single question there. So why do you buy my products? What was it about my sales journey, my advertising, the product itself? Why did you buy it? And if someone says, oh, I had this problem and I found your website, then you might huff and say, right, that's it. There's nothing I can do about that. I just have to accept that the market is the size it is. There's nothing I can do about it, which is not true. So we're going to come on to some of that a little bit later. But why do you buy my product? Is it because it was really nice? Is it because my advertising was really good? Is it because you needed it? And understanding that is really, really important. And second question as well, the how and when. How do you use my product and when do you use it? Now, the thing that's really, really important about this question is I probably 80, 90% of the brands I've worked with that are doing really, really well. They will, if they're being really honest with me and being really honest with themselves, the way people use products, what they use them for, and when they use them is quite often different to what you would imagine. And I'll give you some examples of this. I worked with a brand that was selling running shoes, so trainers for going out running, and 98% of their audience did not wear those shoes whilst running. They just found they were the most comfortable shoes because for running shoes, they're all padded. Some of them are super grippy. So I do a lot of off-road running and I have shoes that have extra grip underneath them, which means I've got a bit more tread and grip when I'm running on a trail or through a field or something else. I'm a bit of an adventurer, me. I don't like to run on roads. But if you do run, whether you run off-road or on-road, the shoes themselves are going to be very well padded and people just found them really, really comfortable. And I was reading up the other day about several brands. I've certainly seen Nike, Adidas, and Skechers. These guys have a thing called Cloud Foam. And apologies if that's just one of you and I've just made a complete trademark error. So apologies. But certainly they've all got different types of foam, and I think it's called Cloud Foam. And they put that in all of their shoes now, just because it's super, super comfortable. So you see how something was designed with one purpose intended, and all the marketing was focused around that. All the images were of people running. All of the branding that went into this thing was about running and about carving, the extra minute off every kilometer or mile that you run, and all these different things. And actually, the customers were going, "I don't care about any of that. How comfortable is it? Oh, it's really supportive. I'll buy it." So actually, you change the whole thing, and even the name Cloud Foam sounds like you are walking or running on clouds. Say Cloud Foam. So I think it's really important to do that. Smaller brands, I'm sorry, guys, you struggle with this so much, and that's where I have the most pain. Is when I talk to a small brand and they say, "Yeah, we've never read our own reviews. We've never emailed customers and asked them for feedback, or when we have, or sent a survey out and run a survey, no one's replied. We've never picked up the phone and spoken to any customers. And most importantly, we don't have a focus group." So some of you guys, as our own focus group here at Winning with Shopify, some of you guys have been playing with, I'm going to keep plugging this thing, our new community. Some of you have been playing with our new community long before it even existed. So you spent time talking to us. And naturally, you've been the fastest and best and earliest adopters of our new community and our ambassadors of that community. So having that focus group of customers around you is so important because those guys are going to tell you what's good, what's bad, and they've got no skin in the game really, apart from just being honest. And actually, because they're customers, they're users of your product, they want it to be as good as possible. So the easiest thing you can do right now is go to your customer service department or start looking through customer service emails and find out from those guys, what is the biggest problem that everybody's facing right now, or what are they telling me? And you might find actually our delivery's rubbish. Well, it's the same price to use pretty much any courier across the US and UK. I know there's some nuanced differences, but you could probably negotiate a very similar deal with another courier who is going to do a slightly faster, better, more well packaged, less damaged delivery if that's something that's popping up as an issue. But you don't know what you don't know. It's one of the most important things my advisor at my agency has been saying to me for probably about 7 or 8 years now is he always says, you don't know what you don't know. So go and find out what you don't know and make smarter decisions. And we've got to do that. So the more you find out about the customer, the better. And yeah, phone, email, surveys, read reviews. The customer reviews themselves are so, so important. I asked a client a few months ago and said everyone's moaning about the packaging of your products. And they all huffed and went, "Oh, I wish our customers would stop moaning about that. It's so annoying. Like our packaging's amazing. I don't know why they're complaining that it's so bad." And I sort of said, well, stop a moment. They're not making this up. So why do you think it is so bad? Like go in the warehouse now and have a look at one of your products that they did. And they came back and they said, to be honest, that is quite bad actually. And it was like this kind of humble pie consumption moment of actually, we do need to really do something about this. And our customers are not going to lie. They want the best products at the best prices. So they're going to help you achieve that. So it's so important to talk to them. Point number 2 links on from that, which is what do you do with all that data? So now that we've found out more about our customers, what they use the product for, where they buy the product, how they use it, when they use it, and all their pain points that this product is maybe not solving, but designed to solve. One of the things you can do, which is the first point on my list with this data, is you can go, all right, our product doesn't currently solve that issue, but it could. And so what we're going to do is we're going to change the product or change the way we package the product or have a complementary product with our product that solves that problem. So actually, if I'm trying to think of an item I bought recently, how about a steel brush for my barbecue? So when I finish barbecuing, and get this steel brush and I brush the barbecue down and it gets rid of all of the ash and everything off the top. So next time I open the barbecue, nice clean grill ready to go, which still has enough dirt on it that it's got that lovely barbecue smell and scent that we all love, which is why you shouldn't clean your barbecue every time you use it, apparently. Again, been reading buying guides and cool content. But I've got this steel brush. Now, what that steel brush could come with actually is the tray that sits under my barbecue, because as I brush it all down, all the dirt falls down through the barbecue and into this little tray that comes out. So what they could do is they could give me a fresh tray with the thing. Or they could even say, well, you should change this tray every 3 months. So why don't you buy a pack of 4 now? And in a year, we'll email you again and you can buy another pack of 4. And that's the way they're actually going, what am I using this brush for? Cleaning the barbecue. What problem does that then create? Or what's the next thing that I need to worry about with the barbecue afterwards? And it's like, well, this tray's now full of dirt and all the dirt in that is actually going to go moldy every few months. So I should probably change that. I haven't bought another tray or even thought about it, but now I'm thinking about the product. What's an after effect or something you could couple it up with a tiny bit of content to explain why I should be interested in this product as well. And obviously all the other things, which we can talk about a bit later anyways, like bundling all of that together into a simple bundle to say, here's your new steel brush for the barbecue, plus here's some other stuff to go with that you might want in a bundle. And obviously I'm buying products for a barbecue, which means I've got a nice barbecue that's worth looking after. So I've probably got a bit of spare cash to spend on that barbecue. Another thing you should definitely look at is your value proposition, as I like to call it. And the best place I find to look at this, and I've done this with quite a few clients over the last few weeks, actually. So I know a few of you guys will probably be listening. But we've gone on Google itself and we've just searched up and found one of our Google ads and looked at all the other ads next to it. And I've been brutally honest with my clients and said, actually, why do I buy it from you when all the other products look the same and half of them are cheaper and half are more expensive? So why am I buying it from you? What am I getting that I wouldn't get from another one? Otherwise, I'm going to go to one of the other ones. And one client in particular actually said some of the other products on here. And if you guys are listening, then you know who you are. And I won't name you, of course, because we're on this journey together at the moment. But we did look at it and they laughed and they said, you know what? This other product you're looking at that's like 20 or 30% cheaper than ours, that is our product. We wholesale that to this brand and they're selling it cheaper than we are. To which I obviously just asked a very blunt and a slightly childish question of like, well, can't we just ask them not to? Which is obviously the right question to ask, but they said, no, we can't. It's a big ongoing issue and it's not something we can solve immediately now. It's been a problem for many, many years. But that whole competitiveness, like here's your product versus all the others. So if you've got an amazing, I don't know, a backpack, like we had Recycled Firefighter on here recently. He makes backpacks out of old fire hoses that firefighters use, or fireman, as we call it in the UK, firefighter in the US. And make backpacks out of those old hoses. Other people make just as durable backpacks made from waste materials and stuff. So why your backpack? So go and look at your backpack versus the others and go, what have we got that these guys haven't? Or it might even be something we've got that they've all got. But if we talk to our customers like we did in the last point, coming into this stage then of what we change, we know to emphasize something on our side that other people aren't. And some of the things you might emphasize, I think, can be fascinating. So you could actually go, everyone's offering a year's warranty on this thing. Well, we don't really get any returns. So let's just pump it up to 3 years and see what happens. And if somebody tries to claim a warranty, it's not a binary like, oh, we have to give them a refund or a free product here. It absolutely is a conversation, find out like, have you damaged the product and everything else. But I've certainly seen brands before change things like, we got free delivery, but you have to pay to return an item to try and stop people returning them. They've offered free returns. So they've gone from paid returns to now the returns are free if you don't like the item. Average order value's gone up, conversion rate's gone up, and the returns have not increased as a percentage of total orders. They have increased in volume because we've now got more orders, but they've not increased as a percentage of total orders. And certainly when you're buying like clothing and things off the internet, I felt the need to touch my t-shirt then. But yeah, when you buy clothing off the internet, there is going to be a degree of, okay, what if this size doesn't fit me? So I think sizing guides and stuff's really important. But if this doesn't fit me, I want to know that I can send it back for an exchange. So if you end up spending an extra, I don't know, 1 in 10 orders, and it really is a numbers game, 1 in 10 orders, you have to do one return for an exchange. You've not refunded the product, you've sent a different size out, so you've still got the order in, but you've just had to pay an extra $2, maybe $5 for that return switch on that product. So it's nice and simple. And using this data, you definitely want to change pretty much all of your imagery across the entire business. I've mentioned a few examples in this before where people have made, again, very dangerous assumptions. When you first start a business, you have to make assumptions. One of the ones that I spoke about a few months ago, and I've mentioned quite a few times with this, is this walking stick we used to work with. There's no point mentioning it. They're not actually trading anymore. It's really sad, but I think they've sold the product to a bigger brand that is selling it, which is quite exciting. But these guys, they thought it was going to be elderly people struggling to walk. Actually, it was people that weren't necessarily struggling to walk, but would struggle when they reached a certain distance on a mountain hike or something. And this product enabled people that couldn't previously go and walk and climb up a mountain or go hiking. They can now do that. So actually, all their branding, their imagery, the color scheme, which is the next point on my list, so images, colors, the way you actually present the brand and the product to people, that changed quite significantly. And now we're actually positioning it as an enablement. This is actually going to change your life. We're focused, as I always say, on the benefit, not the feature so much. The features are important, but the features are right, I'm definitely buying one of these items. Which one am I going to buy? Am I going to buy it from you? That's where the features start to come in. But the benefit is that stage of like, do I want to buy this walking stick or not? A really important one, and this is probably the hardest one to digest, I'm afraid. This is about changing the products that you offer, or actually evolving your product as a result of this feedback. So if people say like, oh, I always use your product alongside this one for this purpose, what you might want to do is go, all right, what is this other product? And could we entwine the two products together? Could we even make it a single product? And let's evolve our product base accordingly, so that actually we're solving the problem the customer has rather than just selling our product. So again, going back to that wire brush for cleaning my barbecue, let's say that like all barbecues have a very similar size of grill on them. Actually, if on one side you had the wire brush, and then on the other side you could just sort of turn it over, and it had like a little steel kind of curve that was exactly the same size as the barbecue, then you could just give it a good scrape afterwards. After giving it a good brush, then give it a good scrape. And you just put a single piece of paper that just explains step 1, scrape it with the brush. Step 2, clean it with this. Much higher chance you're getting a review from me now, because I'm not trying to buy a barbecue steel brush. I want to clean a barbecue. So before I've decided to buy the brush, I could be open to a chemical that I put on there. I could be open to a whole range of tools. I've bought the steel brush because I've been told by other people, so that's a referral, as well as doing some of my own research that the brush is the right way to go with this thing. So adapting that product you're offering actually to what people are using it for, I think is really, really important. So a really good example of this is activewear. A lot of people wear activewear all across Western society, and quite a lot out in the Middle East as well. Wear activewear when actually they're not doing active activities. They are just out on a walk. They are just watching TV in their homes. So actually having soft, comfortable activewear that is still the same sort of shape, fit, look, design, etc., but is more comfortable is really, 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 really cool. A friend of mine's got, she was wearing leggings the other day, and I said, I'm not going to lie, your legs look really swollen. Are you okay? And yes, I'm very blunt sometimes with my friends. And she said, oh, no, these leggings, they're not just like hugging my legs. They've actually got like fluffy sheep wool around the inside. I'm cooking. And obviously this was a few months ago because it's currently summer here in the UK, which is the best week of the year is summer. And that's what we call it. But she, back in the winter, she was wearing these, or it may even been on a cold day in summer. But she was wearing these, and she had that wool fur, the sheep's wool inside. It was keeping her legs nice and warm. And I said, that's a genius idea, because you still look like you're wearing activewear. You feel as comfortable as wearing activewear, but you're more comfortable because you're basically wearing tracksuit bottoms or a duvet whilst wearing the activewear. So I think that's really cool. Last couple of points on what to use this data for. Absolutely look at bundling, pricing structures. So if customers say like, I bought your product and also bought another product to help with this problem I've got from another website, get that product in stock as fast as possible, bundle the two together and say like, you're buying one product, but would you like to buy the barbecue cleaning kit? And actually, I've been a complete sucker for this in the past, where the pricing model is such that I want 2 items, or I want 3 items, for example, out of a bundle, and the bundle's actually got 4, and the bundle itself is cheaper than buying the 3 items individually. And I may not even want the 4th item, but now I've bought it, now I'm using it anyway, and I feel like I've had an amazing deal. When actually all you did was just increase the individual price of the first 3. Really, really simple. And my final point is, and much more. See what you learn from the data. And actually, you need to spend time analyzing that data. And feel free to go back to customers. So if 20 of your customers all said, I want this product, or I bought it for this, or I use it for this, and it was quite striking, go back to them later and say, hey, we've made a change. Would you like a free product to test this thing? Going back to my first point about talking to customers, if you don't have a focus group, this is a really good way actually of starting a focus group. So that's awesome. Point number 3. Now this one hurts. Okay, it hurts me. It should hurt you, and it hurts every finance director there is. I know I call out finance directors from time to time, but this one hurts, right? Statistically speaking, and this is based on 6 different studies I looked at. I've always used this kind of number, but I found 6 studies to back this up. 80% of your business growth, even if you're not in e-commerce, whatever type of business you're in, 80% of your business growth exists in your existing customer base. Right? 80% of your growth already exists within your customer base. Now that hurts because so many of you and so many brands I've worked with over the years are so gung-ho on getting that new customer order and paying through the nose for it from Facebook, from Google, now from TikTok, and a whole range of other places. You pay through the nose. You know, it costs an absolute fortune to get those sales in. So let's rethink this, okay? People have bought your products. They're already in your database and they've purchased your products previously. On top of that, these people already have some trust with you, and you've got their email address, and you know loads about them. You've got their address, you've got their names, so you can probably work out their gender. You might be able to work out, if you've done surveys before, who they are in terms of like their age, their interests. You know what product they've bought. If they've ever filled out a survey or anything else, you know exactly what they use your product for. So what should we be doing on this? Well, you should be finding out who buys more than once, why they buy from you, which we spoke about earlier, of course, and then obviously feed more on that. So if they buy from you because you always have a brilliant deal of the day, which is a spoiler for a later point, if you always have a really good deal of the day, then you need to make sure you're emailing these people harder and harder with the deal of the day. Look at their customer data and go, which deals of the day did they buy? So we know that this customer cohort here, like this deal of the day, this one likes this deal of the day. So I'm not emailing all my customers every single day, not even close, maybe once or twice a month, but I'm emailing the right segmentations and cohorts of customers for the deal of the day that I'm running. And what is the deal of the day? What is the product that is on offer just for one day? It's the product that's sitting in your corner of your warehouse and you cannot get rid of it. Right? And we're going to come on to that later. We're going to come on to offers and how you can do sort of smart pricing, smart offers. We'll come on to that as point number 5. But that's something you can do using this data to get those people to come back and buy it from you. Have a look at what they bought. And actually, if they bought something and there is, as I was saying earlier, about a complimentary product, get that complimentary product in front of them as soon as possible, even before their products arrived. You could even email them and say, hey, you've bought this. And lots of, like Amazon do it really well. Loads of people that have bought this have also bought this item. So you could put that on the order confirmation page and go 20% off if you want to add this to your one order. So it's one delivery, one order, but 20% off if you want to make a second transaction to add this into your order. I've done this with a few companies as a consumer, and most of them are really clunky with this. And they say, oh, you have to order the whole thing again. We'll put your 2 orders together and then we'll run a refund for the extra delivery you paid on your second order. I'm like, just send me a link to pay the difference between order 1 and order 2, and I'll just pay that. I don't want to overpay and then have a refund. And then they say, oh, it takes 28 days for the refund to be processed. I'm like, this is bad. This is bad customer service. So make it happen quickly. Also, some of your die-hard VIP customers, the ones that would, be slain on the side of the hill to defend how great your brand is. These guys, founders, CEOs, marketing directors, especially if the business is named after you, I think it adds such a personal touch. If you as the founder send them an email, and it can't sound like I'm emailing everyone and here's a generic photocopy of my signature at the bottom of the email. It needs to be a, hey Nick, hope you don't mind me reaching out. My name's Stephen. I'm the CEO of this brand. We set up 10 years ago and we've been on a bit of a mission. I saw that today you ordered this, this and this. And, as I say, I'm the founder of this business. I would love to just, and someone's even put the odd typo in. So it's clearly been written. It's the only time I'll ever say to use typos. It's clearly been written. Could you answer me this? What was it about this product that made you buy it? Why did you want to purchase it? What do you want to use it for, et cetera, et cetera? You've learned so much from that. Even just getting that email, the chance of them buying again must be astronomically higher than previous. So obviously, if you've got an enormous brand, you're probably only going to be able to focus on the top 100, 200 customers for someone super senior to be able to do that. But certainly when you're small, if you're getting less than 10 orders a day, no excuse. Every morning coffee. Go back 2 weeks, a day 2 weeks ago, every morning coffee, right? Who bought for, it's Tuesday today. So 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, who bought from me? Email all of them quickly over my morning coffee and my porridge. Do that. Absolutely brilliant. And then every time you make a change, of course, I bang on about this all the time, track those changes. So every time you tweak something, try something new, what happens to my data? I was toying with doing an app episode today and I didn't, but one of the apps I do want to flag on this is called Shoplift. It doesn't help people to steal stuff from your shop, which is what shoplifting in the UK is. I assume it's the same same sort of phrase out in US and Europe and stuff. But yeah, it's called Shoplift. It means you could do an A/B test. So on one version, you could, if so, say you're going to redesign your product page to add more value and this kind of stuff, and add in some of these points we're talking about, you could actually do an A/B test and have theme A going to 80% of your audience, and then in theme B, so you duplicate the theme, you can make a second version of this, and then using Shoplift, it will split the users 80-20, and you can change that split. You can say 50-50 and slowly move it across to the new one. That's just our new theme now. So when we start the next test, we'll duplicate this one theme, and the old one, we'll just ignore it. You can leave it in Shopify, but you don't need it anymore. It might affect page speed having too many themes in there as well. I'm on the fence about that, but we think we've got that issue for a client at the moment. So watch this space. But yeah, as I say, every time you make a change, so whenever you're changing any of this stuff to try and get these customers to buy again from you, if you're emailing them, you could email 5 different messages with 5 different things to 20% each of the audience and just do 20% on each of the 5 things. So then you can go like, all right, that one there clearly won. So we failed 4 times and we succeeded once. Excellent. We know exactly what we're going to send out in 2 or 3 months, or to all new VIP top level, or just any customers we want to get to buy again. That's the one that they really care about, and analyze it. Why was it that one? How does that help? Point number 4. This one is probably the most clickbaity one. If I put this in the title, I think I probably would have got more views. But I didn't want to dwell on this too much because it is so relevant to each business. It really does depend on what kind of company you are. But point number 4 is increasing average order value through a few simple steps. Number 1, if you offer free delivery, keep increasing the level in which the spend required to qualify for free delivery. Keep increasing that until you get to a point where you find actually conversion rate has now dropped. I know you listen to the podcast, Matthew, one of our clients, and I know you've had this because I've been chatting to your account manager in my team, Dan, about this. And I know you put it up and sales like really slowed down. And Dan was toying with the idea, and we all sort of said, right, Dan, why don't you go back and say to Matthew, let's lower it? And I know you've lowered it, Matthew, and things have improved again. So you've found that balancing point. And that's exactly my point about average order value. Find that balancing point where it's like, okay, you need to spend this much to qualify for free delivery. And if you spend that much, you get free delivery. If you spend that, you don't. But keep increasing that threshold until you get to a point where it's gone over the tipping point now and conversion rate starts to drop. Again, you can probably I don't know if you can test that exactly with Shoplift, because delivery settings are it's a setting within Shopify. So you might have to do like a month with it, set it free for everyone, a month set at $50, a month set at $100, a month set at $150, and see what happens. Some brands, the highest one I think I've ever seen was like £5,000. And that was if you were buying an entire kitchen on a web page. So you design your own kitchen, they bring the whole thing, fit the whole thing for you as well. But they said, you've got to spend £5,000 to have free delivery, because it's like 6 trucks are going to turn up and we need 2 skips to fill up with all the old rubbish that we're going to rip out of your kitchen to get rid of. So it's quite a big project, but I was hilarious. I thought when I thought surely everyone's buying a kitchen here, so just make it free, but apparently not. Get a free premium sample. I use this example of a sample quite a lot. But yeah, get a free sample. So say you're buying protein shakes and you got a new protein shake that's a premium protein shake, and someone's not bought one of the premium ones, they bought one of the cheaper ones. Put a single sample in that says like, per protein powder scoop or whatever, this one's got a higher level of protein, it's better for you, but it does cost more. Put a free one of those in every order from people that don't buy that one, and then people that do buy the premium one, put a free sample in of a different flavor, so they can try just in little sachets, so they can try different flavors. Although if you put it in a little bag, it will actually look like drugs, but that's all we'll say about drugs today. So think about packaging. Packaging is really important. Okay, that's the point. 5th order could be free. I've made up the number 5, but you could say to people, once you've ordered from us 5 times, your 5th order is free. I suggest this to a coffee subscription company recently. They haven't done it yet, but we are talking about it. So I'm hoping they do it, and then I can get a little case study to share with you. But the idea being is if you subscribe to the coffee, you get 10% off anyway. But saying every 6th month, for example, is free. So you pay for 5 months, 6 one's free, and then we charge you for the next 5 months again, 6th one's free. So that's again trying to push that retention, and also that average order value as well. Is actually I might buy 2 today instead of 1, because if I buy 2 then 2, I get my next one, my 5th one free, instead of buying like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 4 opportunities to lose that customer. So actually, if they buy 2 now and 2 next time, it's only 2 transactions I need to convince them as the brand to make. So that makes a bit more sense. Subscribe and save is obviously massive, and I just explained one example of that. But yeah, subscribe and save should always be cheaper. You should always incentivize people to subscribe, because then if they subscribe for a year and it's on a monthly subscription, you've got 12 orders instead of 1. Absolute genius. A lot of people do that these days. So if you feel like you need to because everyone's doing it, do it. If you're not doing it and no one else is doing it, it's not going to break the bank. But test all of these things and see what happens. Next one is AI product recommendations. So that massively pushes average order value. Speak to a designer, look at other sites to decide where to recommend products. The right places tend to be at the bottom of a product page or somewhere on the product page. So you're looking at this product, but we've also got all of these, which you might be interested in, and let the AI learn, excuse me, let that AI learn which product to push in that space. I'm a massive fan of when you add to cart, that is the one time that brands completely fail. And I would say 80% of websites I go on, 80% of them completely fail when someone adds the cart to do the basic and decent thing, which is, do you want to add some more stuff to cart? You've added a pair of shoes, running shoes, go back to the running shoe example. Do you want some running socks, which I found out were a thing the other day? And I bought some new running shoes because my team here at Spec and we've all signed up to a half marathon, which is 20 kilometers or 21 kilometers. I found it's 21 today, not 20, which is a bit annoying. And I bought some new running shoes, some quite expensive ones, thinking these things need to carry me a long way. And I also need to be training, so for a long period of time. And the guy in the shop, not once did he say, like, are you interested in some running socks as well? Because they can help your feet breathe better. They can reduce blisters or whatever else. Didn't know any of that. It was something one of my team said, like, have you got running socks? Because I'm thinking of buying some. And I was like, what's the point of that? And we had to go out and Google, like, is it worth buying running socks? And the ones we found were actually, I think, 10 or 15 pounds per pair. And I thought I'll get at least 2 pairs and running quite a lot. So I've just spent 30 pounds on socks, which sounds like a lot. But actually, why did the shop, I was a physical shop I went into, why did the guy not just bundle them in and say they're £8 per pair if you buy them today? He's just increased the transaction value there. So product recommendations are so important, but again, be really careful as to where you start injecting them. What you don't want is someone's like halfway through putting their card information into the cart and it's like, oh, do you want another product? And then they click on that product and they leave the checkout. I'm a big fan of, once they start the checkout, just get the sale in. Once we've got the sale in, we've got their email address, they've bought something, we can work with them from there and build a big brand ambassador long term. But certainly those recommendations are so important. And also finally, back in January, we had Loyalty Lion on the show for I think it was 3 episodes we did in Jan. Check out loyalty programs, because giving out loyalty points, loyalty discounts, and basically saying to people like, be a loyal customer and we will reward you. And there's a framework for that, which you can hold us accountable to. So loyalty points are great for boosting average order value, because you can say, actually, you're earning 10 points for buying this product for $10, but actually, if you spend $20, we'll give you 25 loyalty points. And people go, oh, loyalty points, they sound great. I'll get 25 loyalty points, but you've just doubled their transaction value. And if you're a good business with good products and a good brand, you've just sold them another fantastic product, which is always a good thing. All right, I've got a whole list on my screen of the final part, which is rewards. Some companies offer rewards and they're really stupid about it. And I'm going to call out, no specific names, but I'm going to call all of you out who are stupid. The ones that are stupid just go, it's a low, slow month. Let's put a discount on, I don't know, 10, 20%. You just make it up. And you get to the end of the month and you go to your boss and you say, hasn't it been fantastic? We've made a lot of money. And we did it through for offering some loyalty points. Happy days. That's silly, I'm afraid. It's a silly way of doing it. We can be so much smarter. The problem with doing that is you do it once and then you get a lag afterwards where people aren't buying because they're like, do you know what? I looked at this the other day and it was on sale. So do you know what? I'm not going to buy it now because it was on sale. The value is not there anymore. And there's always that argument of like, if you didn't put it on sale in the first place, then the customer's not having this thought process. So actually, if you think about discounts and go, we need a discounting strategy, or actually we're only going to discount products when we've only got one of them left, that's a really good strategy. And they all sit in one collection on the right-hand side of your menu bar, and you can go in there, you can buy products if you want. But I just think it's so important to make sure that we don't get hooked on discounts. We had a client that was super successful last year going really early on Black Friday in October, Got to November and customers were like, now what? It's Black Friday and you've been on discount for a month. What are you doing now? Or 7 weeks, something like that. So they were like, oh, I'm gonna have to add more discount. And by the time we got to January, no one bought anything. They actually had a real crisis on their hands. And don't get me wrong, we weren't sitting there going like, hey, isn't the ROI so great? Like, we're making you tons of money and everyone's happy. We were sitting there going, this is really dangerous, guys. We need to have a real rethink about this or we're not going to be able to sell any products next year. It took about 3 months at the start of 2024 to recover from that. Again, I'm not going to name any names, which means I can tell you the whole story and the truth of the story. But we had 2 brands that did that last year. And I'll be humble in saying that it's easy enough for me to sit here on the podcast and say, all my clients are fantastic. They're all making billions. It's not the case. We have challenges. The difference is they've got us and everybody should have someone like us saying, hey, you should stop and think about this thing. So be really careful about discounting. I've got a whole range of examples on my screen here that I've written out. So I'm going to blast through these and I hope at least one of these is useful to you to make discounting smarter, more effective, and most importantly, keep it as profitable as possible. That's what we're aiming for. So discount for completing some sort of brand learning. We had a sponsor on, I think it was November or December last year. Still in touch with the chap Corey, who's the CEO there at Alia Learn. Highly recommend Alia. What it does is somebody will go through a learning process. So they will watch a video, fill out some questions, answer some questions, whatever, about your brand, which means they learn about your brand. And at the end of it, you go, great, here's 25% off. And you've just got a 20% off voucher. You've earned that voucher. So the chance of you using that voucher now is super high. So the conversion rate after somebody goes through a Alia learning process is super high. So reward people for going through some sort of learning educational exercise, because what you're doing is you're rewarding them for becoming an early ambassador before they've even purchased from you. Genius. I saw one the other day. It was really cool. And we also had Lucy on from Bear Kind last week talking about their green policy. But most importantly is if you buy a pair of socks from them, a pair of bamboo socks from Bear Kind, you buy ones with a turtle on, they will donate some money as part of that order you've made. Some of that money goes to look after an injured turtle or a turtle in need or a turtle foundation, whether an endangered species, something like that, which is really, really cool. I saw one the other day though that was fantastic. That was if you add an extra $1 to your order, we will also take $1 from your order and match your donation. So you donate $1 to charity, we will do the same. And that was really, really effective. Newsletter sign up for a discount is quite good. I have to say, like, the welcome offers, that they're not as effective as they used to be. And one of the issues is everyone's doing it now. How many sites do you go on? Excuse me. How many sites do you go on? And you get that big pop-up and it says, give us your email address and you get 15% off. I don't know about you guys. I sit there and look at this and I've seen the same thing happening when I've used Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity and watched users using sites. People sit there and you can see the mouse kind of moving between like, yeah, let's do it. No, let's close it. Yeah, let's do it. You're like, oh, you're basically saying to someone in the first 5 or 10 seconds of arriving on your website, are you ready to buy yet? And it's too much. I think it's too much. So what you can do is just have a newsletter sign up for a discount. And if they don't, and don't make it super obvious, but if they don't find it during their first visit, wait till their product's arrived and send them an email saying, hey, leave us a review. And then wait another week or two and send them another email and say, hey, do you want to join our newsletter? You've not signed up for the newsletter when you bought from us. But if you do sign up, we'll give you a 10% off code off your next order. Just literally click this button. It will sign you up and it'll also give you your welcome code as well to join the newsletter. Nice and simple. And it creates a bit more engagement with the customer as well. Free shipping if you buy X items. So we're saying earlier about average order value, but what if actually the average person was buying, say, I don't know, 3 items in their cart, or 3 items was really, really good. Most people bought 1, some people bought 2, few people bought 3, but 3 is really good. We're super profitable when you buy 3. We'll just say like, yeah, you get 25% off if you buy 4 things from us today, knowing that or 4 things from this category, almost like building your own bag or bundle, which is quite cool. Next one, give influencers a code. And also you can check out one of our lovely brand partners at Afluencer, where you can find nano influencers and everything else. So go and check those guys out. But yeah, you can certainly give influencers a code and put their name in it. So I had a chap on called How to Beast, and we were talking about his Shopify store and also talking a little bit about how it came about through his YouTube channel. So if he was one of your influencers, you could say to him, just tell people to use the code How to Beast 10 and they get 10% off everything. We'll also give you 10% of their order as a thank you. So it's a nice affiliate scheme. So that can work really, really well as an offer without it being too devalued. It's like a friend of How to Beast, right? We'll let you in. You can come in and have a nice discount on our store. I love the ones where it's like you add 3 products to your cart and it says add any product you want and your fourth one is half price. And in the T's and C's, it will always say like the cheapest one is half price. But how compelling. Again, if you say like, okay, half our customers buy one or two items and they're cool and we want to push them up a little bit, but people who buy 3 or 4 are fantastic. So why not say every order that has 5 items in, the cheapest one's half price? That's fantastic. Depending if you can do that, you obviously need to look at your profit models, but that's a really good way of increasing average order value from a single order. And also, the more someone spends on their first purchase from you, the more likely they are to make a big purchase later on, the more likely they are to just make a purchase later on. Awesome. I mentioned deal of the day earlier. I like a good deal of the day. It depends on your brand. You don't want to like have this beautiful luxury brand about all these, very interesting, like very expensive ceramic plates and stuff. And then suddenly there's bright red text going like deal of the day. It's like that is off brand. That does not work. But there are ways you can do it. And if that luxury kind of premium element doesn't apply to you, if it does, I would recommend like don't discount anything. I think rather than discount, it's more exclusives. It's a good way of doing it. Exclusive products. There's only 10 of these in the world. We're offering it to you first. Would you like it? Of course they would, because the people, your customers, have got spare cash to invest in art and and other things as well, which is super good for you. But if you can, deal of the day is fantastic. Get rid of all of that old stock sitting in your office. So that run that one of your sales teams or you bought a year ago, and it's just sitting there, and you can't seem to sell these t-shirts you've got hanging around, just go deal of the day, 50% of these t-shirts today only. And it's like, right, we got rid of a quarter of them. We can run a deal of the day again in 2-3 weeks time and get rid of another quarter. And at least I've got half my money back, even if you're selling them at like zip. And then if you've got all the other things I'm talking about, people will hopefully buy other products. I say hopefully, people should buy other products while they're on the site and buying that deal of the day. A few others, these ones might be a little bit more simple, but sign up for a giveaway, just build that email database and then work over time, A/B testing, split testing different emails to people. As soon as they sign up for the giveaway, have a whole flow of different emails that go out to different people, see which one's the most effective and keep modifying and evolving it from there. But giveaways are fantastic. You still need a marketing plan to get people to the giveaway to fill out that form. So try and target that in new customers. An influencer would be fantastic for this. So you can say, hey, I've teamed up with this brand. They're doing an exclusive giveaway. You've got to enter by Friday this week. Bang, let's go. Refer a friend and you both get rewarded. That one's nice and simple, can be really effective. But again, talk to your customers, like we said about point number 1, to work out what kind of reward is going to be most valuable to them. Is it an early exclusive? Is it a discount? Is it a free product? So again, if it's anything they consume, easy enough to give them like a small sample, say, look, refer a friend and we'll give you a taste test of this new product we've got coming out before it's available to everybody else. Genius. So I keep saying genius, like these are, none of these are my ideas. This is stuff that brands are doing that I think are worth shouting about. So they are the geniuses here. Or it's not genius, is it? Geniuses. 15% off for feedback. So again, going back to point number 1, learning stuff. Go, hey, answer 5 questions, we'll give you 15% off your next order. We just got a new order from them, and 15% off is probably cheaper than acquiring a new customer through Facebook or Google. Excellent. And also, we got some feedback. We know some stuff. The only thing to bear in mind is if a customer wants to give you feedback, it's probably going to be more detailed and accurate than if you say to a customer, you can have this if you give feedback. People might just click whatever to get the 15% code. So what you might want to do is like set some stats on that page to go, if people have filled out the 5 questions in less than 20 seconds, there's no way they've read all the questions. So we might go back to them and say, hey, you replied this. Can we ask for a bit more information about that before we give you the code? So I don't know if that's legally allowed. I think once you promise the code, you probably have to give it, but try and spark a conversation anyway. And finally, I love using these because I use these myself, and they are cashback sites or a multi-site reward program. So what I mean by this is I use a cashback site called Quidco. I think it's just UK based. I might be wrong. But everything I buy, I tend to only try and buy from retailers within Quidco because I get 2%, 5%, 10% back from the order. So if I spend £100, it's got 10% cashback. I get £10 back from my £100 order. Wow, how are brands giving away so much money? Well, it's cheaper to give that through Quidco than it is to pay £50, £100 to try and get me to convert from Google cold the first time, clicking on Google ads. And then that whole buying journey. Whereas Quidco, it's like, I know I want to buy one of these things. I'm going to go on Quidco, use a Quidco brand because I want the cash back, because when that cash back comes through, I can still go and spend that cash back. I need to buy these items anyway. So cashback sites can be absolutely fantastic. Well, there we go, guys. 5 top tips. You've got absolutely no excuse now not to be increasing conversion rates and driving things forward. So number 1, talk to your customers. Just checking my list. Number 1, talk to your customers. Number 2, use data. Use that data after talking to your customers to update a load of things on your site. Build the brand around them, not around you. Humble pie time, guys. I've eaten loads over my career, so come on, let's do this. 80% of your growth is in your current customer base. So look at lifetime value, how you get those guys engaging, or how you learn enough to find the next big base of customers as well to keep increasing. Increase average order value. So look at what people are buying, how they're buying it, and try and encourage people to buy more products or buy the more premium version of the other product. Put them side by side, run a comparison. Didn't say that earlier, but that's an excellent idea that a lot of brands do very well. And number 5, offer rewards in a smart way. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Nick. You guys have been great, and I'll catch you again next Friday. Thanks a lot.